the Rocket Man. Neither Doug nor his mother could sleep. Doug's father would soon arrive for his quarterly visit, and earlier that evening Doug's mother had asked him to convince his father to stay home this time. Doug had answered he would try, but he cautioned his mother it won't do any good. Later that night, as they lay awake in their beds, they could feel the air grow hot and see the walls brighten for an instant, and they knew his rocket had passed over their house. Since, however, it was clear neither one would sleep, they got up and ran through their checklist again. The next day, Doug's father arrived. It was the typical 4-day visit, and, as usual, Doug and his father discussed everything except his being a rocket man. Doug's mother, though, seemed hardly to notice his father. For his part, the rocket man did the best he could to feel at home on Earth. He even avoided looking at the sky. After a couple of days, however, he could no longer resist the temptation, and he began to gaze longingly at the stars. They would lose him again, Doug's mother knew, just as they had before. On the last day of his visit, the rocket man turned to Doug and said, "Don't ever be a rocket man." Doug was surprised. "I mean it," his father continued, "because when you're out there, you want to be here. When you're here, you want to be out there." Always the sky was there to remind him. And Doug replied that he had often thought of being a rocket man. His father, however, who seemed not to have heard him, continued, I try to stay here. Promise me you won't be like me." "Okay," Doug finally agreed. The next evening, Doug asked his mother why she treated his father so coldly in one moment and in the next spoiled him. "When he went off into space 10 years ago," she began, "I said to myself, he's dead, or as good as dead, so think of him as dead. And when he comes back 3 or 4 times a year, it's not him at all. It's only a pleasant little memory." But at other times, she admitted, she could not help herself. She could not deny her deeper feelings. What if he died on Jupiter or Saturn or Neptune? On the nights when those planets were high in the sky, we wouldn't want to have anything to do with the stars. The next day, Doug and his mother received news that the rocket man's ship had fallen into the sun. Huge and merciless, the sun now seemed like something that Doug and his mother could not escape. For a long time afterwards, Doug's mother would sleep through the day. They would eat breakfast at midnight, lunch at 3, dinner at 6 in the morning. The only time they ever went out was when it was raining and there was no sun.